Hey everyone. I'm so excited you're here. Welcome to the ROI of Peace podcast. So excited that we get to spend this time together, sending you hugs and loves and all the things. When I was going to college, Scott and we got married young and we're finishing up our degrees, and I had an internship at a school, an elementary school. And at the time, it was with the school counselor. And at the time, school counselors were like, more of school therapists, And so that's why I had this internship, and I was like, okay, this will be super cool. We were doing little small groups with the kids and stuff like that. And I was realizing, I was like, gosh, I am so tired all the time. I am so exhausted, and being around the kids and being around and being concerned with them. And this was way back when in the 90s, it was still, kids were going through a lot and they had a lot of challenges. So the emotional load was heavy. And I began thinking, like, do I really want to be a therapist? Is this really what I want to do? I don't know about this. And so I really started questioning myself. And I thought, well, you know what? I know we want to have kids. And I was actually pregnant at the time too. Well, yeah, I think part of it I was. And during this internship, that probably did not help, to be honest, because I was so sick. And it really made me question, like, do I want to do this? Do I really want to have this career? But it was kind of too late in the process. And I'm like, well, whatever. I guess I'll just got this degree for nothing, or it was yay, check box, because I knew I was going to do it. But I think what I have learned, and really I wish what I would have done, is listen to those red flags earlier and either chosen a different career and trusted myself earlier. I had so many other interests of, like, I took a design class, like an interior design class, and I swear I should have done that. I took a nutrition class and I was like, this is amazing, because I love, like, health and feeling good and taking care of our body. And so there were so many other things I could have done. I was telling Scott and I were having this conversation about, like, if you had chosen a different career than you had now, what would you do? So we were talking back and forth. I think he should have been an FBI agent or something like that. I think it might be too late for him to do that, but he's really good at reading people. He's really good at, like, he would totally be good at, what are those people do? Profilers. He would be amazing profiler. So we jump into this episode all about trusting ourselves and listening to situations, listening to ourselves, trusting the process, trusting these red flags that are coming up, and doing something about it, not just buckling through and being like, it's going to be fine. You know what? I have all these other things, but really listening and giving ourselves time to listen to what our intuition, to what our gut, to what our body is saying. And I love that our human design gives us a way to listen even better. So I can't wait for you to meet Rita Richa. She is the founder of Reignite Media. She is the one that helped me through my podcast rebrand and launch, helped me get to the ROI of Peace, helped me to develop that. And it has been the most impactful process I've had in my career. It's been amazing. She works with Fortune 500 and B2B brands. She also is an award-winning host of Bibbidi Bobbidi Business and helps brands turn conversation into relationships and relationships into revenue. And we dive into her beautiful human design chart. Make sure to grab your human design. It's in the show notes. It's a map of the gifts that you were born with and how you operate best. I cannot wait for you to meet Rita and jump into her beautiful story. All right, we'll see you inside. Take a breath. You've got this. Rita, I'm so excited to have you on the ROI of Peace podcast. Thank you so much for being on today.
It is an absolute pleasure. I am very excited to be here.
I'm so excited. And all our friends, I am so excited that you get to know my podcast strategist and who has made all the magic in this last year of my podcast. It's just been amazing to work with Rita. And, like, I just love you so much. So I'm so excited we get to do this and dive into your story and everybody can get to know you better.
I feel like we're having a podcast slumber party and I'm here for it.
Right? Like,
I'm so excited. Yes, let's do it.
So cool. So we're going to start off the podcast, as we always do, with a little game, and it's called Pick Your Piece. And so On here this is from my app, and here are the interferes. This is the interferes page, and an interfere is basically a sabotaging cycle that we all have, and we'll usually lean into about 3 or 4 sabotaging cycles that interfere with our peace, our success, our joy, and each one has a visualization story that can help us to navigate out of that. We need a prompt to get out of it, and we need to see what patterns we're actually doing. So you get to choose a number between 1 and 12, and I've randomly selected which ones and jumbled them up each time so no one knows which one it is. So love for you to choose numbered between 1 and 12.
Okay, 4.
4. Okay, 4 is the overbusy.
Oh my God, girl. Do you this is so weird. Yeah, that tracks.
That tracks. Okay. It is so funny how every person picks what they need to hear randomly.
Yes.
It is so crazy.
Okay.
I absolutely love it. Okay. All right. So everybody, all our friends listening, everybody, if you're in a seated position, you can close down your eyes and take a deep breath, inhaling and exhaling. In these few moments, you're investing in peace, and that investment starts working right now. The overbusy fills every moment, equating motion with success and purpose. But that's a lie. Stillness isn't a waste of time. It's where clarity and creativity begin. Let's jump into the story. There once was a forest tucked away from roads and rush. It wasn't loud. It didn't try to prove anything. It never once made a to-do list. Still, it grew. Tall trees, soft moss, sunlight that danced on every leaf. One tree stood in the center. Not the biggest, not the oldest, but it had a glow all of its own. This tree didn't chase the sun. It simply turned towards it. It didn't beg for rain. It opened to receive it. It didn't rush to bloom. It bloomed when it was ready. Stillness was its strength, and trust was its rhythm. But nearby there was a woman who didn't know how to be still. She kept coming to the forest, arms full of planners and worries. What if it's not enough? She whispered. What if I fall behind? So she kept moving. She kept proving. She kept pushing. The tree watched her. And one day the woman came in tears, and she said, I'm tired. I don't know how to stop. I don't know who I am without the doing. The tree said nothing, but it offered its shade, its breath, its presence. And in the hush of that moment, the woman placed her hand on the bark of the tree. She felt its pulse, not a hustle, but a hum. Not a grind, but a glow. And she remembered the forest wasn't busy. It was just breathing. It was being. She sat, she exhaled, and for the first time in a long time, she didn't make a list. She just listened, and she let herself be like the forest, still, rooted, growing, without the hustle. What are you afraid of will happen if you slow down? What feelings are you trying to outrun with your busyness? What approval are you trying to chase through the constant doing? You can take a deep breath, and if you've closed your eyes, you can open your eyes.
That was so timely and impactful because I am that little lady in the forest. I'm running around, but I don't know. This is just so powerful because not only did we pick accidentally what a theme that I'm personally also working on this year, my necklace has a tree on it, actually.
No way.
I'm not
Stop
faking
it.
this. Look, if you're watching,
yes.
I actually have a tree, and it's a reminder of my aunt. My aunt gave me this when I was like 18, and it's a reminder of that stillness, and it says, life is too short to worry about stupid things. Have fun, fall in love, regret nothing, and don't let people bring you down. And it's a tree. And I just thought that story with that message is it's kind of, I don't know. I feel like we were meant to share that today and experiences. So that's beautiful.
Yes, I love that. What were you thinking about, like, your busyness, your
Yes.
struggle with busyness? How was that impacting you what intention or thought came to you?
Yeah, so, this is a theme that I was doing pretty well at being intentional about in the beginning of the year, and it always happens that you get busy and you forget. But really what it is for me is something that I was reflecting on. I went on a beautiful trip at the end of last year to like San Diego, and I just sat by the beach, and I challenged myself to turn off my phone and literally sit with myself for like 2 hours, like just in front of the beach, like try to listen to my own thoughts. Because when I am busy, I almost operating in a sense of listening to other people. I'm operating in I should be doing this, or other people look like they're doing good, so I should do this thing too, whether it's for business or personal or whatever. And when I sat with myself, I finally realized that a lot of the actions that I had been taking in life and business were simply because I saw somebody else do them. Because we try to model success or happiness based on what we see our peers or other business leaders doing, right? But when you do that, you are at a disservice to yourself because you're not actually aware of your purpose. And so when I sat with myself, I realized that I was kind of not answering on purpose, maybe out of some deep fear, what my true initiative was. Like, what is it that I'm actually doing? Not the tasks, not the projects, not the little things, but like, why am I doing what I'm doing? And unfortunately, a lot of us, we do what we do because we are in like a state of just survival, right? We're just
Yeah.
like, this is what we need to do. We need to make sure we're booked and busy. But a lot of the times from that reflection and this story being a great reminder, I realized that not every action is aligned with the why that we have. And if you lose sight of it, you really are just kind of walking around the forest, picking up random twigs, wondering why you don't have a tree yet or whatever, right? When you really should be understanding and that I guess maybe it's just how I was raised, you have to have a certain job or a certain title by a certain age, and you have to have this accolade by a certain time in your life, and this and this. Like there's like this old world way of by certain ages you have to do certain things, but the timeline is completely a mirage. I don't think it's real anymore. So if you remove the timeline and you focus on personal growth and fulfillment and try to lead with that first, when you're doing every other part of your life, you'll find happiness. And for me, I don't think that the way that I was going about my work made me aware of the fact that my happiness was connected to my productivity. I didn't feel happy until I achieved X, Y, or Z, even if they weren't that big of a deal. Like, tell me why I was shaming myself for like my kitchen drawer. Like, oh, I won't be happy until I go on Amazon and buy like, these wooden spoons that, this cool lady's telling me about. Like,
Yes.
there's lots of distraction. There's lots of distractions.
There is. And I feel like that pressure is so hard. And when we relieve that pressure, it
Mm-hmm.
really helps us to see things clearly. Like, one of my goals for this year is just to have more fun in my business and just to
Yes.
have the joy of it all. And so I was thinking about, like all my business goals and things. And one of them is to do more in-person networking
Mm.
because I was like, now that we've established this great brand that you and I did together,
Listen,
and
you did most of the work, okay? I
oh
really
gosh,
should not take all the credit for it at all.
no, you like pushed me in a good way and seen the vision, and it's part of your human design, and I cannot
Mm.
wait to share that with you.
Ooh, okay.
So, and it really so one of the things I have been looking for is like a in-person networking group, and I did a lot pre-COVID, and I was like, did a little too much, but whatever. But I
Well, see,
want
that's
some.
my problem too. I
Yes.
do a good thing and then I like exit because
Yes.
I feel like, oh, well, this is what's going to make me happy because I did it once, and then I ruin it for myself, and then I go back into burnout. So
Yes.
it's like, just because it's nice doesn't mean I have to like overdo it too, you know? I don't know. So
Yes.
I relate to that.
That is totally, yeah, like it just, a good thing doesn't get better because we're doing more of it. You know what?
Oh my God, yes. That is such a good, yes. I need to write that down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. A good thing doesn't get better just because we're doing more of it. I think it really is when we can focus and be more, I know it's woo woo and it's the same thing that we will always get back to, but it's just being present. It's just
Yes.
being present, and the second we remove that presence and that mindfulness and we kind of take a back seat and let autopilot take over, I fall back into those same habits of overworking, doing more and more and more and more, when it's like, you know, how can we do more with less? Because because that's just the society that we live in, especially like, they call it a rat race for a reason. And it's like, there's certain, and even with social media, like there's awards and accolades for doing more and doing it quickly and just like going so fast. But I really do feel that the second you can ground yourself, you'll move from doing the work to maybe even being the work. Like, what is the difference between doing the work and being the work is a question I always ask. And back to that moment in the beach in San Diego, I realized that I needed to lean into authentic entrepreneurship. What is it that I want in my life first? And based on what in my life I want, how do I plan my business around that? And that's why I love what you're doing, because we have forgotten that way of thinking.
Yes. Well, and then the inner fears really solidify these patterns that we have grown to adopt that we think are helping us and they're really harming us. And they shake our confidence. And you have this beautiful story that really changed how you view yourself and how you view your identity. So you shared one of the biggest turning points of your life where this was a breakup that really blindsided you. So can you take us back to that moment?
Yes, girl. Okay. So, I always joke that in my 20s there was a clear line of before and after. And what I mean by that is, they say psychologically or neurologically or whatever it is that your frontal lobe doesn't develop until like you're 25 or something like that. So prefrontal lobe Rita versus post-frontal lobe Rita, and then add in an ADHD diagnosis and then going to therapy and all these good things. Two different people, girl. I really, at 21 years old, if I would be able to go back at 30, I'm 30 now. If I were able to go back and tell that 21-year-old me what I'm doing now, and I don't think I would be able to even comprehend the work that I get to do, because um I think that, you know, this relationship that I'm about to share with you, this story, there's many layers to it. As women, depending on how you grew up and where you're from, we really see the accomplishment of having a partner and marriage as this shining gold star thing to aspire for. Like, your life is going to get substantially better when you meet the one. And there's a lot of pressure to, whether it's spoken or not, to look and act a certain way to like attract this dream partner. And maybe, some of it is maybe the Disney movies I grew up watching,
You are a Disney girl.
right?
Yes.
The happily ever after, and
Yes.
someday my prince will come, and it's cute and romantic when you're little, but what's sad is, if you're not happy with your life and you're looking for some sort of escapism, it's like this hero complex of, I am not complete until somebody else comes and makes me complete. And there's a lot of layers to that. So, when I was in my early 20s, I was obsessed with finding like the one. My career was like okay, like I was working at a car dealership and I was in college, and I was part-time teaching music to kids, and I was just like, like I'm just gonna be Little Miss Rita housewife, or I don't know. I don't even know
Yes.
what I was thinking. I didn't have a frontal lobe yet. So
Yes.
I couldn't tell you. So I was just like, dating around, and unfortunately at that time I was really my family we were struggling financially. Like my dad had
Mm.
been an entrepreneur his whole life, and we went through a hard time where you know, I was quite spoiled growing up. I had a fantastic childhood, but sometime in my teen years and eventually when I got to college, we lost that business, and we lost everything that we knew. Our family home, our
Oh
cars.
my
We
gosh.
were even like homeless for like a month, and my family had to pretend everything was fine and come in from overseas and take us on a trip, even though I was very aware of the fact that we I was like
Yes.
19 at this point. I was like, I'm very aware of the fact that we do not have a home anymore. So I don't know why you're trying to make it like seem like we're going on a vacation and we're just going to come back and find a new house when I really know there's a problem here,
Yes.
guys. Like I wish you would just like talk to me about it, I guess. So
Yes.
anyways, it was a hard time. And once that kind of started not settling down, once it became harder, I guess, to hide the truth, I really had to step up and be the one to like help my family figure out resumes and figure out like working, and then, working for the first time. I didn't even have a license. I got a license later. Tell me how I was like in my first couple weeks of working at a car dealership and I had just barely gotten my driver's license. Like I was afraid to drive over the bridge. Like they were literally like, you have never drove over this bridge before? And I was like, yeah, I just didn't have the time. I don't know what to tell you. So there was like a lot of pain that
Yes.
I kind of pushed away and went into work mode. I know this is a core of the overworking and fear, right? So
Yes.
when you go through something difficult, you're like, well, let me just work hard and, do all these things so that I can just worry about this later, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you combine that story, that reality, honestly, with this like, well, maybe if I marry a well-off man and he's cute and he's nice and da 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 da, like, everything will be okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's not a unique story, but it's a formative moment. So fast forward, I met this guy and I met him online, and it's so embarrassing. I met him on a Disney like a dating website. I don't know if it exists anymore, but it was called like Mickey Match or something like that. I don't know. My friends, it was like trending on Instagram at the time, and all my
Yes.
friends were like, "Oh my God, girl, you better get on this!" And it was just like, yeah, it's so funny. Maybe I should just like for kicks and giggles, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I was 20 I was exactly 20 at this time. Started talking to this guy on and off, and then at 21, I went down to Tampa and I met him, and I'm in Jacksonville, so it was just like a big deal. And of course we go to Disney on our date. And just as a side note to any women listening, if you meet a man on vacation, it is
Yes.
completely different than when you meet them in real life, because you're on vacation, so it's gonna be great, like
You're at
probably
Disney.
consider that that's very much influencing how you view the other person. But
Yeah, makes
anyways,
sense.
I was head over heels because I was just like, oh my God, it's so romantic. And he's so nice. And he comes from a good family. And he's, he works in finance, and he was 6 foot and he had blue eyes. And, all of the,
Yes.
the song or the trend, right?
Yes.
So I was very keen on trying to get out of my family's drama at the time. I love them deeply. We're fine now. But at the time, I was young and annoying, and I was just like, I just got to get out of this. So I applied for a job at Tesla to move down to Tampa because I knew that my mother would absolutely kill me if I went to move down for a boy. So I I was like, well, let me get a better job than the job that I'm doing now and get my own place and make sure that, like, at least I'm that, right? So I did that. I got the job, and it was very chaotic because I didn't have my own place yet. I subleased an apartment on Craigslist from, like, a dorm room at UCF. It was very sketchy. Not UCF, USF, I apologize. Yeah. So I was just, like, randomly on Craigslist, subletting, and I just prefrontal lobe, right? And within 2 weeks, boom, I had moved. I had just moved to Tampa, and I had worked this job. And, it was, like, really nice in the beginning, and he would take me on all these fancy dates, and, it was nice because he had money, whatever. We'd go, like, to bougie places, and we were always at Disney because he was just as obsessed. Honestly, sorry, dude, if you're listening to this, you're probably not, but you were more obsessed than I was, and that's a lot. That says a lot, because I did not want to go every week, and he wanted to go every single week. And I was like, can we do something else? Like, seriously? Anyway, so it was weird. It was a weird time.
Yes.
And I bring this up because I was in the ideal state that people say you should be in. I had an extremely high-paying job at a very fancy corporate company, Tesla, right? Like, wow, that's a big deal. I was 22 at this point, time had passed, we're dating, all this stuff. And, I met the right guy. We'd go to church together, and he was nice, and he had money, and his family was nice. And yet, every day when I woke up, I felt so empty and so sad. And I didn't know why. I really didn't know why. I knew that the job was demanding. I knew that it was hard. But I had my own, eventually I upgraded and got like a nice 2-bedroom condo with a pool. And like my car was still crap because I was just like, it just was, but whatever, the nice job. We're going on all these fancy trips. So, we flew me to London. We went all these places, really fancy stuff. And because of my upbringing and how well off we had been when I was growing up, I was like, great, like this is going to be my life again. And it's so great. And he would do the nicest things. I would think he was so nice. I'd have a bad day at work and he'd show up and, bring a coffee and a treat and be like, I hope you have a better day. And on the surface, everything checked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm finishing my degree. I'm close to getting it. I have my job. I have my own place. I have the guy. My family's good now. I'm able to like help them from afar, whatever, all these things. And then day by day, as each day went by, the job, I liked it less and less and less because I was the girl singing like Belle, like literally singing musicals around the service shop, like literally on my own head. And it was a hard job. It was demanding. I'm making it lighthearted, but I mean, management was rough, and it was, there'd be mornings at like 7 a.m. where I'd be like cleaning out cars, and then we'd have to wear heels and whatever because the management guy, whatever, we're not going to talk about that. Anyways, so at some point I was like, I hadn't really thought about what I wanted to do. Up until this point, if you hear my story, you've heard I have to do this for my family. I did this for this guy. I did this for that other person. I had never really considered like, what do I want to do? And the second I started thinking about that, everything unraveled for me because I realized I wasn't happy. And it literally had to take a near-death experience for me to actually recognize this. So I was on my way to work, and I was, rushing, driving, trying to get there because I'm chronically late. And, I don't know. Prefrontal lobe me didn't know. I also didn't know I had ADHD at the time, too. So there was a lot going on. And I get in a really bad car accident. And my car, like, flipped, like, 3 times.
No way!
It's absolutely insane.
It's a miracle you survived that.
Yes, it's an actual miracle. And because the way that the car impacted me, like, it just narrowly missed, like, the driver's side. It was like a head-on, like, collision, basically. So it, like, hit, like, the middle panel. I flipped 3 times, and then I literally I remember being, like my heart was pounding, and I remember being like, what just happened? Do you know what I mean? And then I get out of I walk out of the car completely unharmed. It was truly a miracle. Like, I believe in God. I don't.
Yes.
This was the moment when people ask me, like, why do you if you believe in God? This was the moment for me, girl. Because,
Jesus!
because literally, what? Like, I was completely unharmed. But I was obviously shaken up, and I was just like, what just happened? And the cops came, and it was my fault because I was in my own world and I was stressed and whatever.
Yeah.
And, and it's hard to admit that, but I was young and I just wasn't paying attention. And then the cops came out. They literally were like in shock that I was okay. Like they were literally like, how are you okay right now? Like, are you actually okay? And I went to work that day. That's what's crazy, because my partner at the time was like, hugged, cried, I thought I'm okay. He's like, you're fine. You should go. And I looked at him and I was just like, what do you mean? Like my glasses are literally like this, like they're broken. And he's like, you're fine. He's like, you should just go. You're fine. And after like all of the chaos of the whatever, and like him coming to like help me or whatever. And so I go to work that freaking day, and I'm obviously still in shock and quite stressed. And, they're like, oh, let me fix your glasses. Here you go. Have a good day or whatever. And they like fix my glasses. And one of my coworkers, she's like a really close friend of mine to this day. She was just like, are you sure you're good, girl? Like, you should go home. Like, what do you mean you're here right now? Like,
you just flipped a few times.
Yeah, like, you probably. But I was so dead set on like work, right? Because that was the culture at the time.
Yeah.
So that started making me, that was the first really big moment where I was like, what am I doing with my life? Like, what am I doing this for? And from then I started going into this overthinking spiral, if you will, of like realizing I moved down here. My family is up there. I don't want to work this job anymore. What do I do? And I started getting so stressed out and so like depressed. Like there was a point where my pillow literally had mascara stains on it because I was just so unhappy. And my ex at the time, he didn't like it. He was very much like, we need to fix this. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, typical macho man dude, where it's just like, it has to be the fixer. If anything is wrong, it's not okay. Like, there's something wrong with you and you need to fix it, type of a thing.
Yes.
And things started coming out that I didn't notice at the time because I had not really been in a proper relationship before. It was like my first real one, you know what I mean? So there was all these like this pressure from him too, for me to just like get it together, like be happy. Like, why are you so sad all the time? Like, I need you to be more active. I imagine my family working out with me or whatever and like being active, like all these things, you know what I mean? Just like whatever. Anyways, it wasn't. So that was like one pivotal moment. The second part of that was I thought I was having a heart attack because I was so stressed out. Like, after all this, I started processing and, I was kind of like grieving, or I don't know, I was in a bad state. And I remember one evening I was sitting there and I really thought I was having a heart attack, and because my left arm went numb and I had trouble breathing. And so I call like the hotline, and the nurse lady is like, you got to go to the ER, I don't know what's wrong with you. So I call my partner at the time, and he's like, you're fine. You really want me to take you to like the ER right now? Like, I was an inconvenience suddenly the moment I'm not okay, right? And I was like, no, like I've lived my whole life and never felt this feeling before. Like, I really know that something is wrong. I don't know what it is. Go to the doctor and go through all the ER tests and everything. And he's just like literally inconvenient. He feels inconvenienced the entire time that he's there with me, basically. And I had a panic attack, and that's what was going on. But it was so bad of a panic attack that literally that it was like triggering like this very visceral response for me. So at the time I didn't believe it, but I was like, okay, like sure, I guess I've really never had this feeling before, but I guess it's sure, doctor. I don't know. I'm like 22, 23. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm so young. And so then I go to, he's literally like, just take a couple days off of work. Like, that's what the doctor said. Like, after, like, you just need time off. And I was like, I came here for you to tell me I need time off. What's wrong with you? But I didn't. I didn't. I went because of my fiance not fiance, sorry, my partner at the time. He was like, you're fine. He said, you're fine. Just like go to work. And I was like, I guess I'm fine. I'll go to work. And then I told somebody on the team, they're not there anymore, but whatever. Somebody I had told that what had happened, and I had gone to the ER, and I was like, and then they were like, welcome to the team. It's happened to all of us at least once.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
That was the final straw.
Yes.
That was truly the final straw of being like, what's the point? Like, if I'm making so much money, and, for my age at the time, right? If I'm making this much money and I don't know what I'm doing and I'm not happy here and I'm literally, my health is at risk now because of this, why the heck am I doing this? You know?
Yes. And I think those key indicators are really something we need to be mindful of instead of just pushing past. Am I happy?
Yeah.
What's my stress level like? And not realize, well, I just got to keep going and it'll get better. But no, like, we have the power to change what our story is going to be in the future. And we can take that past information and be like, wait a second, you know what? I can listen to myself. I can trust myself. I know that this is not right. And I'm not going to continue going forward and being brave enough to do that. And that's what, like, I love the human design, because it gives us indicators of this is how we operate best.
Yes.
This is the gifts that we bring to the table. And so for everybody who's like, wait, I don't even know what human design is. Sounds like, what is this? Human design is a personality test. It's like the Enneagram and Strength Finders, but it goes like 100 levels deeper. So if you all love that, you're going to love this.
Yes.
And you can grab your human design chart. It's in the show notes, and find out what gifts you have. But there's about 35 to 40 different parts on a human design chart, which is what I love. It's like this puzzle piece of how we fit together and how we operate best. And so when I pulled your human design chart, I was like, I knew she was this. I could tell. And
I can't wait to hear it.
Oh my goodness. And you are a manifesting generator. Now, this is one part of your chart. This is one of the 5 types, and there's lots of other parts. But as a manifesting generator, your type is all about energy and momentum. Your process is never linear. It can look like you're moving from one thing to the next. Almost think about like when a bouncy ball bounces. You don't like try to capture the bouncy ball, or it's actually kind of hard to like grab it.
Yes.
You need freedom to move where you need to go. Your speed and clarity need that freedom to quickly pivot, quickly move forward. You're also really good at being multi-passionate, and that is your sweet spot, is to be multi-passionate and multitasking as well. So if, there's like Pinterest boards that are like, just focus on one thing at one time. That is not for you. You need multiple things going on in order to keep that momentum going. And because you're such a pioneer, you can understand, like, we're going to go this route, and then we need to pivot and change and go this route. And it's so natural for you. But oftentimes we judge ourselves on other paradigms that are not for us, So have people ever told you that you need to slow down or just focus on one thing?
Yes, absolutely. The end of the story is I left that job and things didn't work out clearly between me and that guy, and I moved home and I tried a million jobs. Literally, I was like, let me just explore everything possible because I don't know what I want to do. And my family was like, can you just like do one thing? Like, are you okay? Like, like you're at a tanning salon and now you're like teaching English to kids, Chinese kids online, and suddenly you're like also, doing this like random like piano job. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know is the answer. But what I've learned is embracing the I don't know can be positive too, because I get clarity from that. Yeah. So I would have I had this wall with like a bunch of like sticky notes of things that I wanted to try and do. And people were very judgmental at first of like, you need to do one thing. And I don't know. I don't think there is one thing that you're meant to do in life.
I don't think so either. And especially as a manifesting generator, the more that you have on your plate that are different things, the more that this one category sparks creativity in this other category, And the mantra for your human design type is, my momentum is magic. And so whatever.
You have the magic word in there too. Yes! Are you kidding me?
I know. I cannot make this stuff up. So it's, instead of forcing one path, let your curiosity lead the way. So this is what your strategy to engage your human design type is. Let your soul tell you where you need to go. That light up, sparkly feeling, that magical feeling that you have inside, that's your guide to go to the next point. And it will always lead you in the right direction.
The fact that my business is literally reignite media, like focused on sparks and all of that, like that's
Yes.
so crazy, girl.
That is. I didn't even put that two together. Stop it.
I love it.
This
I
is
love
insane. This is crazy. Well, another part on your human design chart is your profile. Now, a profile is layers of your characteristic, and it's made up of two numbers, and they each mean something, and then combined, they mean something together. So you're a 1-3, and this is about discovering truth through experience. You love to have strong foundation and learn how things work. That's like gets you fired up. And then the 3 is about trial and error. So through experimenting, through testing, you're discovering what works and what doesn't. Now, isn't this crazy?
This is crazy.
It is. And a lot of times, there's this thought in the world that like, oh, when something doesn't work out, it's a mess up or it's a mistake. And it's not, because it's your pattern of how you learn best and your experiences through that grounded insights. So, have you had some mistakes that have actually become moments that have taught you?
Every day, girl. Every day. Like this is why I think it's so cool what you do, because it's the truth. I learn best when I experience and when I do. When I create, or when I put the thing or concept in practice. I can't learn by simply watching somebody else do it. I have to fully experience it, because I like to feel that empathy and that relational firsthand experience to be a better partner or business owner or friend. Like I feel like I have to actually try it myself so that I can believe in what it is that I'm saying. And I feel like the word mistake or failure sometimes in business has a negative connotation. But I spoke to somebody recently, and they work in the scientific field. And they were really like talking about how in science there are really you view experiments as a way to get closer to a finding or a truth. You have a hypothesis and you test it, you gain evidence, and then you retest it. And from one finding, you apply it to another. And I think it's my own scientific madness method of life that I have, maybe mad scientist version of what I do, is how I apply things. Because every single day I feel if I haven't done something correctly, or I have failed, it's not failing, it's just another data point. And in my experience that will better inform the next decision. And this kind of thinking, I owe credit to my mom. She's always been so encouraging and positive. Get back off the bike, fall off, get again. If you don't first succeed, try again. And luckily, I have that mindset, and I think it's a good reminder for me too, because if you're listening to this and you're stuck in perfectionism or overthinking, and maybe instead of viewing what you're doing as a mistake or as a failure, like, you're just a project, you're a scientific experiment that you're testing your hypothesis out on yourself.
Yeah, and that real trust in ourselves, I think it changes the story in our mind that I made a mistake, I didn't get it right, and that perfectionist, which is an interferer, comes in, and instead of identifying with that, it's the process of life. It's the process of understanding what's happening next and getting to the end result. It's funny, when we were floating new names for the podcast and this new brand, we went back and forth, and I was like, what about this? And you're like, oh, it's not quite there.
Yeah.
And, and we went back and forth, but we had fun with it. It was such a fun experience to do this rebrand, to take it to the next level. And I didn't feel like there was any ways that if I looked at it like, oh, I didn't get it just right, it's a process, and it took us a while to get to this end result, or in this next point, and so I feel like that we get to trust in ourselves as long as we can look at it as a process. It's not me, I'm not identifying because I'm the mistake. It's I am moving forward and I figured out that this wasn't quite the way I want to go. Now I'm going to try this, you know? And
Yeah. Or even it's like there's certain things that I've tried in my business over the years that I really didn't do a good job. And now it's not a service I offer anymore for a reason, right? Like
yes.
it's like, it's as long as you're transparent with the people that you talk to and you're like, hey, like I'm trying this new thing out and we're going to see if it works. If it doesn't, like, sorry, I'm literally never going to offer this service again.
Yes,
You know what I mean? But I
yes,
think, another way to look at it is we are all in beta mode. Every single one
yes.
of us, it's our first time on earth. We're going to have very many iterations of ourselves if we're talking in like software speak or whatever, right? And we never really bat an eye at, an app for, revamping or doing a new version of it or it having a certain function in the beginning and it getting better over time. And so I think that's why I love the human design that you have shared with me and I resonate with it is life is an experience. And if you do not live through it and you constantly are judging it and living outside of it, then you won't live. You're just going to simply be here. And I refuse to not go through my life and say that I regret anything. I would rather try everything and fail than look at the end of my life and go, I played it safe and I
Yes.
wish I would have done X, Y, and Z.
Yes, totally. Exactly. No regrets.
No regrets.
And the mantra for this is my experiences create wisdom. And
Mm.
so the strategy for this is really giving ourselves permission to experiment, to learn through experience, instead of marking mistakes as failures, to recognize them as part of how your process of gathering wisdom is. And to be like, oh my gosh, I'm gathering wisdom. Let's move on to the next thing, you know? So, one last part on your chart that I really wanted to share with you is
I'm
so
here for it.
beautiful is there's when you're looking at the body graph has all these chakras basically on there. And around the chakras, there's these lines. And these lines are either colored in and they're either long lines or shorter lines. And they're basically the same thing. They're channels and gates. But the one that stood out to me is a gate. So it's a shorter line and
Mhm.
it's gate 54. And this is the mantra is I move mountains. Yeah.
What?
I know.
I'm about to this thing makes me want to go into battle and fight somebody.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I move. Okay, yeah, tell me more about
Yes.
that.
Yeah. You have this like energy and drive and determination. Whatever's coming at you, you're going to be able to take on the challenge. You're going to either crush the mountain, walk through it, move around it. It's not going to stop you. You're going to find a way through the process. And the beautiful thing about these gifts is you can give them to other people. So if other people are having a hard time and they're like, I don't know how to move this mountain, whether it's personally or professionally, you can say, wait a second. What if like look at it this way, or let me give you some of my sparkly magical energy because you can do this, and you can cheer them on, help them to see that they can build a map of their own lives. So, have you felt this internal drive to keep growing and moving forward?
Yes, this is so. Listen, y'all. For anyone listening, I 9 times out of 10 don't believe half of this kind of work that we do. Okay, I'm a very pragmatic person. I'm a skeptic by nature, and this is on point. Okay, I really do feel this sense of like yeah, I guess my version of it is the quote from Walt Disney, if you can dream it, you can do it.
Mm.
That's my version of how I perceive it. But what you're saying is beautiful because there are obstacles that come in life. Actually, I'll just really quickly say this. So, my mother named me, my name is named after a saint. It's the Saint Rita is the saint of the impossible. That's what she's the patron saint of, which is wild. She's great at branding.
Yes,
Homegirl was like,
seriously.
she was like, when you were born, I just knew or whatever. But because when I was born like 2 months early and they
Mhm.
thought I wouldn't be able to make it, to be honest with you.
Wow.
So it was a really hard experience. So she's very prayerful. And, she basically was like, I'm going to name her this name and hopefully she'll make it through. And then I did. And here I am. And so I think it's literally in the fabric of my being to be like, if I see an obstacle, I am stubborn Lebanese American woman, I will find a way around it. Like, it's gotta happen, for better or for worse sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes I force things, to get through that I really probably don't need to, but this spirit is something I love, and I do try to, and I've had a lot of people in my life that go like, you made me want to be an entrepreneur because like of seeing how you do it made me think maybe I could do it too. And I'm stuttering saying that because it's a powerful thing, and it's impactful, and I'm very very grateful to have this gift, and there's been many instances where that has been absolutely true. So you hit the nail on the head with it.
I love it. And it is so funny because I've read human design charts of hundreds and hundreds of people all over the world. And every time they're like, gosh, that is me.
Like, why is that right, though? Yeah.
What is going on? Well, and it's neat to really identify with it because sometimes we think when we're doing something, we're like, well, that's just something cool I do. It's just something I just rise to the occasion. But if we think about it instead of, I was born this way, I was born with this ability to do it.
Wow.
It just, it's magic. Again, it's this magic lighter,
Oh my God. I'm literally freaking out. Yeah. So for
Crazy.
me, I guess my takeaway from this whole experience and why I love what you do is like, I feel like we were designed to be made exactly who we were meant to be. And the more I spend my life fighting who I think I should be versus who I'm meant to be, it's not going to help me move those mountains. It's not going to help me try and not see the failures as experiences. And so I love that this is an opportunity to help women, especially, come into who they are and celebrate that rather than having to fix and nitpick every single thing about us that we think is wrong or man or society tell us is wrong. And just embrace the beauty of which is life, as like life is an experiment and we are meant to experience it. And I invite everyone along to be free. And if you have a map like you're talking about right now that helps you go on that journey, all the better.
Yes, all the better. Oh, I love that. And we talk a lot about indicators in the ROI of business, right? It's marketing, sales, performance, all these measurable markers. But in the ROI of peace, it's different. It's a return that fuels everything else. It fuels clarity, it fuels resilience, it fuels sustainable success. And the ROI of peace has its own areas that can help us to have more of that. So what areas in your life are you asking for more peace right now? Physical, emotional, spiritual, mentally? Like, if you were bringing it into peace into one area that actually looked like in your daily life, what would it be?
I would say it's probably a blend between spiritual and like mentally. It's this constant battle to remember to prioritize myself first. And I really really need to improve that. I spend a lot of my days waking up because I care about other people and I want to do well for them, and I want to be of service to them. So I wake up and I'm immediately stressing like, what do I need to do for this person, this person, this person, this person? And it comes at a cost. It comes at a cost. So that's what I'm working on for myself, is trying to remember that I can take time for myself and the world will not, well, hopefully won't light on fire. We'll see.
Yes, totally. I feel like so many of us have that too. And that just like, oh, we just got to keep running for other people. And there is no time. There's not enough time, but there really is. And we can schedule that and really take that into our lives. Instead of having these cycles of burnout, we can have that sustainable success and really that happiness along the journey, So Rita, this has been amazing. Yay. Oh my gosh, I love it. I know my friends want to get connected with you. We have listeners all over the world. They want to, the podcasters, all these things. Tell us what's the best space?
So the best place to connect with me is on LinkedIn. My name is Rita, Rita, last name Richa, Richa. As Courtney has said before, we'll have it linked in the show notes. And you can also send me an email, contact@reignitemedia.com. If you have a story you feel like you want to tell, in whatever capacity that is, and you are really trying to share it, I would love to help guide you to make that story reality for yourself.
That's perfect. And yeah, we'll have that in the show notes.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being on the show today. This has been so great.
Love this. So I'm proud of you for doing this, and what a good podcast. This is
Oh.
great. Thank you so much for having me on, Courtney.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, and friends, thank you so much for listening. It means the world to me. I see like the podcast stats and I'm just like, what? This is insane. And I love the comments. So your comments on YouTube, your comments on Spotify. And I'm just so glad that we get to build a peaceful life together. So we'll see you in the next episode.